Hi, hello, hey. So in this video, I'm going to be doing a sketchbook spread with the Prima Marketing, not called that anymore. Used to be called Prima Marketing, now it's called Art Philosophy, that's the brand. And this palette is called Currents. They have a bunch of different palettes with different colors. So this one's called Currents, it's like a water theme, so that's what my spread is inspired by. And in a minute here, when I open it, you'll notice that there are only 2 colors in this palette. And those colors are only blues and greens. And I guess turquoise, if that counts. But yeah, so all of the colors have really cute names. Like one of them is called Blue Whale, which I thought was pretty cute. So then I had to put a whale in there to draw a little whale. I also Googled some fun facts about blue whales, and I didn't know how big they were. Like, I knew blue whales were, like, huge, but did you know they're, like, the biggest animal to, like, ever be discovered on the planet? They're bigger than dinosaurs. I did not know that. That's kind of crazy. They're also the loudest animal in the world. So I guess they kind of do the thing, the underwater thing those sea animals do where they're like, like underwater. Totally sounds like a bird call. But yeah, so I guess they're kind of loud. So, I don't know if I'd be friends with them. I don't like loud things. But yeah, and also their tongue, like, weighs the same as an elephant. So that's kind of random, but yeah, fun facts. So if you're wondering why I glued those onto that piece of paper, I just think they're cute, and I didn't want to throw them away. I mean, look how cute they are. So I always glue them, and then I put them in the back of my sketchbook. And I always have a bunch of random pieces of paper, like, in my art room anyway. Like, even if it's, like, there's stuff on the back of, like, the printer paper that, like, we just don't need anymore. So I'm just using paper, okay? And these are super, like, inexpensive watercolor palettes, so sometimes the paint will fall out of the pan. So if I feel that it's loose while I'm, like, taking the wrapping off of it, I'll just put some water underneath it and then it'll stay down. Yeah, so water is kind of like a glue for watercolors, so, that's fun. Yeah, and sorry you can't see that in the corner there, but I wanted to swatch the colors on the swatch card and in my sketchbook. And the reason for that is I just like to be able to see the colors in my sketchbook. And also, this would have taken, like, so much longer if half of that page wasn't filled with swatches. This spread took weeks. Like, I don't know how people will be just, like, posting, like, art videos every week. Like, I can do that if it's just, like, portraits. But to do, like, a whole spread with, like, multiple paintings, that's, I mean, I guess maybe, I think a lot of people, they're, like, full-time artists. So maybe they just have more time to paint than I do. That would explain it. Yeah, so here's me finishing the swatches in the sketchbook. And the way I swatch is I put water on the colors and then do, like, a very light one. And then when the water soaks in, I go back in and go over it. And I just like to see the lightest and the darkest the color can get, basically. Or I guess it's not the lightest the color can go. It's just, like, what the first pigment you get out of the colors is. But yeah, and how dark it can get is also kind of important. So yeah, so here's my cool transition. What? So I used a purple pencil, and now I'm using a kneaded eraser to erase it a little bit. You don't want to erase it too much, but I just want to erase it so the lines aren't super dark. Since watercolor is transparent, it is kind of important. I don't want the lines to be see-through at the final painting, but I do need to be able to see them for a little bit, so. And I showed the paint water because I thought the color was pretty. This is funny rewatching this because, like I said, this was, like, weeks ago. So it's kind of funny, but I'm remembering it. So I mixed this like blue color, and I wanted to do a base color for all of the water. And since it's underwater, in my brain, everything will have kind of like a blue hue. So I'm just going over everything so everything has that hue underwater. And then I guess that painting, you didn't really need that for the sky, but I was like, that can be the sky color too. And then that weird shiny stuff that you can see, that's masking fluid. And I'm using it to mask off the areas that I don't want to get super dark blue. And then after, you also have to wait for it to dry, which is kind of annoying. So I don't use it very often, but it always surprises me how long masking fluid takes to dry. It's like really annoying. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna put this on, then I'm gonna start the painting, and then it takes like 20 minutes, so then I can't start the painting immediately. It's very sad. Yeah, so I masked off the areas, and then once you want them to be unmasked, you can just like rub it off. You'll see when that happens. And then I'm using my mom's phone to look at reference pictures. But yeah, I did say I wanted to practice drawing backgrounds, so I'm happy I did that. I think it'll be a while before I do this again since it took so long, especially filming it, since I need like another device to look at the picture, you know. I'm using my phone to film it, so I can't use my phone to look at the pictures. And I saved them on my phone, so yeah. I also need to figure it out, like a way to send the pictures to my computer. Because if I could send them to my computer, then I could look at my computer, which would be nice. So I sent them to my mom, and then I used her phone. Yeah, so here's me peeling off the masking fluid. There's like you can use like a little tool like that. You can use the tool to apply it too. Or you can just use your finger. But yeah, I will say if you're using your finger, don't do like back and forth. You just want to do like one motion. So like just like swiping up. And so I've noticed if you do back and forth, it like rips the paper. So I think it's a lot better if you don't do that. Also, look how well my nails match. Isn't that cute? My nails changed a lot during this video. And then there's a little skip because I was having a hard time and I didn't like it. So had to fix some things off camera, and then I got a little distracted and finished it apparently. You know, classic moves right there. And then I wanted to do some green because a lot of the ocean stuff was very blue. So I wanted to paint some green stuff too. So I looked up some green flowers. And there was surprisingly a lot of them. One of them was a green rose. And I know blue roses aren't actually found in the wild. They're like, people like make them. I'm not really sure how that works, but it's a thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if green roses were the same. Like, I don't know if that's an actual thing or not. But people make them probably, so I don't know. Yeah, so there's a green rose, but I think all of the other plants are like actual wild plants. I mean, they look like plants, so I don't know. But yeah, and then I also drew a jellyfish over there. And that's because one of the colors was called jellyfish, so I had to draw a jellyfish. And then I don't know if there was a color called sea turtle, but I know there was one called blue whale and one called jellyfish. But I feel like there wasn't one called sea turtle. I just like decided I need to draw a sea turtle. And a fun fact, after I sketched this, I drew another sea turtle, like in my sketchbook. And I was like, why am I practicing like after I already drew it? I think that defeats the purpose. But yeah, so maybe I should have done that like first. But that's okay. I think my sea turtle sketch turned out pretty good. I feel like my voice is sounding raspy. Maybe I should take a water break. But yeah, and this painting, see, at first it was going easier than the other one. So like, okay, I've gotten used to only having these colors. I got it. I know how water works. But this one had a lot of plants, like, in the rocks that were all different colors. So I, like, paint around the rocks. It was a whole thing. Yeah, and then I turned my light on a little bit too bright, so, yeah. it's a little too bright. Yeah, I'm gonna take a water break. Okay, hopefully my voice sounds less raspy now. I feel like the voiceover always makes my voice sound weird though, so we'll see. It is funny, I remember when I was a kid and I first heard my voice recorded, and I was like, why do I sound like a chipmunk? And now that I hear it recorded for videos, I'm like, why do I always sound like I have a cold? Some videos, it is I sound so sick. It's so weird. And I don't understand. I don't know. Because sometimes I actually have a cold, but then I don't sound sick. But some videos, it's I'm like, I'm so sick, you know? But I'm not. It's weird. But yeah, so here's the painting. You can see I'm getting used to my limited color options, and it's looking pretty good. And that gray blue at the bottom swatch there, the second to last one, that one was my best friend. This is the only color that I think that was the only color that might have had a little bit of black in it. So I was just help me color. Yeah, also, I forgot to mention this earlier, but I decided to also use some colored pencils. I still only used blues and greens, and then I also used white gouache for highlights, but I have to use white gouache for highlights. That's always, any challenge, there's gonna be white gouache for highlights. But yeah, I also didn't like my painting before I added it, so it's very important. But yeah, I decided not to be able to use a black colored pencil. I was like, white gouache, not against the rules. Black colored pencil, against the rules. Which was kind of difficult, because some of my pencils, they were light greens, but I was like, I need a dark green to do the outlines. And I didn't have a dark enough green, so I had to use a really dark blue for a lot of it. For a lot of the pencil line work. So that was annoying. Yeah, here's me doing the highlights, very important. I added a lot of little dots and stuff, and that was because I don't know how I didn't notice this, but I was looking at my reference picture, and the rocks kind of had a bumpy kind of texture, so I wanted to add the dots to kind of give it some texture. And I think one of the layers I did try to add it, but it just kind of blended together, so the white highlights kind of help. It almost looks more like bubbles. Okay, well, now I'm adding bubbles. So I was just it kind of looks like bubbles. I'm going to add bubbles. I really like drawing bubbles. I feel like I've been drawing them a lot lately. But yeah, and here's the green rose I was talking about. It's kind of a weird shape. I think it's because it's kind of at the, in the weird middle point by the middle of my sketchbook. So it's a really, strange shape. But yeah, and then that bottom one there is a tulip. I guess tulips can be green. I swear, I thought roses had some weird colors, but have you guys seen tulips? Maybe some of those ones are people made too, but tulips have a lot of funky colors. There's black tulips. I really want some black tulips. It's funny. Last year, I told my mom about the black tulips. I was like, they're so pretty. And then, I guess she's been trying to find them so she can plant some in the garden. But she was like, yeah, I don't know why. I, can't find them anywhere. And I was like, are they not a thing? Was I lied to? And she was like, no, I know they're a thing. I just can't find them. So, they're a thing, but they're nowhere to be found. So sad. But yeah, I'm finally working on the person now. The mermaid. And I did a lot of the wet on wet technique. I also did it for her shirt, where you'll see me do it again in a minute, but I did a bunch of different greens and then had them blend together. And then for her hair, I did a bunch of blues, and I think it turned out pretty good. Pretty good. I didn't have any idea what I wanted to do for the color scheme of her. I just kind of knew I wanted her to have dark hair. That's all I knew. I wanted her to have dark blue hair. In my head, I was picturing purple, but then I realized I don't have a purple, so dark blue, close enough. And then I think the skin tone is kind of what I pictured. And then I was like, okay, well, now she needs to have green eyes to make it, like, pop. And then I decided to make her tail green because I wanted it to stand out against the blue whale at the bottom there. But then it kind of blended in with the, what are those called? The bells of Ireland, I think, is the flower that's down there. But yeah, it ended up being kind of like the same color, even though I tried to use 2 different greens. So they kind of blend together, so I had to, like, outline the bells of Ireland with the white. And I guess it, like, kind of worked, but yeah, it was, they kind of just blended together. It was funny, though, when I was doing the sketch, I actually, like, I did the whole sketch, and then I decided to add in the blue whale, so it's kind of funny how much stuff is going on by her tail. Like, the flower was there on purpose, but the blue whale, he just kind of, like, swam in. There was a color named blue whale, so I had to add the blue whale. You know, I already said that, but it's this important detail, okay? It's very important. And yeah, I decided that I needed to do a visual line art for each of the scales with watercolor. And I also did pencil line art for the mermaid, but I don't think I did each scale with the pencil because it's like, no, I'm not going over these scales like a 4th time. 3 times is enough. Yeah, I did have a lot of fun drawing this mermaid, and I think her shirt is kind of cute too. I wanted to do a more, like, just, like, simple, like, little cute shirt, you know, maybe it's, like, a little swim top. I think it's cute. But yeah, I do think I kind of want to, like, I feel like I need to draw a mermaid with, like, actual color, because it was kind of sad just doing that. But yeah, so, thanks for watching. Hope you liked this video. Comment, like, subscribe. Yeah, and here's the finished picture. And, yeah. I hope I don't have to do this again, you know, considering how long this took. This was weeks to do a picture for a spread. That would be annoying having to do it all over. I would not enjoy that. Just imagine how long it would take to do it a second time. Dun dun dun.